Welcome to today's deep dive. We've got a fascinating one lined up just for you today. Imagine staring at an architectural blueprint where, making a millimeter of error or just opening the wrong door doesn't just mean a failed inspection. It results in instant death.
Which is pretty intense.
Right. So today we're unpacking a recent devotional based on Ezekiel chapter 41. We're exploring how these ancient, heavily fortified blueprints actually connect to a massive shift in human psychology and spiritual access. So, okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, and to really grasp that psychological shift, you have to first visualize just how intimidating this space is. I mean, Ezekiel is given these highly specific measurements. The innermost room, the most holy place, is a perfect square, exactly 20 by 20 cubits.
Wait, 20 cubits. What is that in modern terms?
Yeah.
Because, it sounds massive, but I can't really picture it.
Oh, it's roughly 30 by 30 feet. So not a sprawling stadium, but a very distinct, deliberate cube.
Okay, got it. 30 feet.
Right. And surrounding the central sanctuary are 3 stories of side chambers, 30 on each level. But here is where the engineering gets absolutely brilliant because they're built using structural offsets.
Yeah, I actually read that in the source, but honestly, I couldn't figure out how an offset actually works here. Why not just attach the side rooms directly to the temple walls?
Well, think of the outer temple wall kind of like a staircase. The base is incredibly thick, and as it goes up, the wall steps inward.
Oh, so it creates built-in ledges.
Exactly. The wooden beams for the side rooms just rested on those ledges, which means the builders never had to hammer a single peg or beam into the sacred wall itself.
Wow. So it's like a literal buffer zone.
Yeah, it acts as a total architectural quarantine. Nothing is allowed to pierce or compromise the holy space.
Okay, that makes sense. But it still sounds less like a temple and more like, a high-security vault or a panic room.
A vault is a great way to describe it.
Right, because even the interior design is intense. You've got carvings of palm trees, and alternating between them are these cherubim with 2 faces, like one human face and one young lion face, just staring out at the trees. Why the obsession with keeping everything so guarded and, frankly, kind of eerie?
Well, what's fascinating here is the why behind all of it, because if you look at the earlier chapters of Ezekiel, there is this profound trauma. The original temple was completely defiled, and God's glory departed from it.
Oh, right. That was a huge deal.
A massive deal. So this new blueprint represents the ultimate healing of that tragedy. The palm trees and cherubim, they're direct callbacks to the Garden of Eden, a perfect, uncorrupted space guarded by angelic beings.
So God is meticulously designing a flawless, undefiled dwelling place without the slightest error, just so he can actually reside among his people again.
Precisely. He's preparing the space.
I get the theology there, but practically, how is a normal person supposed to interact with a high-security vault of absolute holiness? The author of our source material brought up this great comparison.
Oh, yeah, the Superman story.
Yes. So as a kid, this author was a total daredevil. Literally jumped from a 3rd-floor window pretending to be Superman. Unafraid of anything. Except the principal's office.
Naturally.
Right. That room was sheer terror. And the author realized they were viewing God the exact same way. They knew from Sunday school that only the high priest could enter that 30 by 30 foot most holy place and only once a year.
And if you wander in carelessly, you die.
Yeah, God's presence was the ultimate principal's office, just a place to avoid at all costs.
Well, and historically, that visceral fear made sense. The boundaries were literal life and death. You didn't just casually stroll past those 2-faced cherubim. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, that entire paradigm shatters later in the biblical narrative.
You mean with the New Testament?
Exactly. When Jesus died, the physical heavy curtain separating that terrifying most holy place was torn completely in 2 from top to bottom.
Which physically ruins the whole architectural quarantine we just talked about.
Completely ruins it. The psychological shift there is staggering. You no longer need a high priest, and you don't need to fear immediate destruction for crossing a boundary.
Because the ultimate principal's office suddenly becomes a loving father's study.
Yes. You can now approach God anywhere, calling him Abba, Father.
So what does this all mean? You have this intense contrast. On one hand, there's this incredibly intimidating, mathematically perfect, sacred space we just mapped out.
Right, but on the other hand, the curtain is gone.
Exactly. You're welcomed right into the center of it. Not as a trespasser, but as a kid walking into their dad's office. So you don't need to run from God out of guilt or shame, nor approach him too casually.
Right, you get to approach with confident reverence. The absolute holiness of the space hasn't changed, but your access to it has.
Which leaves you with something pretty profound to chew on. Think about that ancient blueprint, painstakingly designed over centuries, with its heavy doors, thick walls, and guarding cherubim.
It's a lot of security.
It is. But if those ultimate, mathematically perfect sacred spaces were eventually thrown wide open to everyone, how does that completely rewrite the way you view the places or the rituals that you consider sacred in your own life today?